We continue with our sessions once again. I would now like to invite Mr. Surajit Subhasranjan Roy, MD and CEO of IDBI Intech Limited. He is a millennial digital business leader with 25 years experience, driving stimulating trajectory of consistent, profitable business growth. Digital transformation journeys by integrating disruptive technologies along with effective collaboration and agile execution in a swiftly evolving world, like we said, the VUCA world. He has featured in various business publications, Business Icon, Forbes India, inspiring CEOs in the Economic Times, CIO View and CIO Look in the United States. His vision for robust economic growth of the nation, his development of human capital is an evolving economic asset. Under his leadership, he is working actively in the development of human capital by bridging the gap between academy and industry. What good example here today also. Continued collaborative effort between industry, academy and intellectuals for skill enhancement of our youth will ensure widespread economic growth. He's an engineering graduate from Pune. Happy to know that, sir. I'm from Pune too. I studied in Mumbai and then moved to Pune. So we got something in common. Business agility is a key attribute of a successful organization. It is a topic of interesting in the globalized business environment. Agility requires both ad hoc reactions, agree with that, on what is happening in a specific situation and adaptation of the organization in the long run. For adaptations, two principles can be distinguished, change and maturing. Very well said. Whereas the first is an explicit planned transformation of an enterprise, the latter can be viewed as being a continuous improvement. We all need to do that. It is a challenge for any business to sense opportunities or threats. Both are correct. Sometimes a threat can be an opportunity also. We look at our SWOT analysis. Prioritize potential responses and act efficiently and effectively. Various approaches using technologies such as cloud computing, business IT alignment, enterprise architectures, or context modeling are being adopted to provide business agility. However, AI can contribute in several ways to increase business agility. We now invite Mr. Surajit Roy on stage to give a session. Thank you.
Okay, good morning to all of you. Morning. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Goel and the principal, Mr. Power, for having me here. I think, with COVID, we all faced so much of numerous challenges. Livelihood was a problem. Technology was far-fetched, and that is how technology played a role, Something, the nature pushes you to do something unnatural, right? And your thinking has to be unnatural because nothing was predefined, right? The problems were not known. Solutions obviously was never known for what has to be done. So with this, we all struggled and we all stretched our mind to figure out how a business can be moving on and on. The economy across the world has been a problem. So we had COVID, then you had Russia-Ukraine war. You're going to see the effects here and how this agility has been driven from the environment itself for us to have business agility from that point of view. And I'm going to talk about how AI is going to be the standard or the norm for our normal way of working or normal way of life. We'll move to the slide shows. So, thank you, sorry. So, we talked about VUCA. So what is business agility all about? Here is a definition, right? It talks about business agility is a people-centered, where organization-wide capability that enables a business to deliver values to a world characterized by ever-changing environment, which is, volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity. We talked about in the start, and that's the definition of business agility. And that's where we start off. So why do we need business agility from that point of view? Yes. Oh, you could play it from there. I just said, next slide. I go to the next. Yeah, that's it. So why do we need business agility first of all? We need to know the definition, right? So there are 4 factors which have actually imparted in creating business agility, which I talked about. One is an uncertain factors, like we had COVID, Russia-Ukraine war, then we had US Fed increase, the inflation rate. Second is oil price fluctuations and the macroeconomic factors like inflation and recession. So these are uncertain factors which has driven business agility to a speed which was unimaginable, before COVID is concerned, right? Then we talked about technology disruptions. So if you can see that smartphones today has disrupted the movie lines, the music world from that point of view, and the media business totally. Drones disrupted digital cameras, agricultural techniques, the way we used to do our agricultural, pesticide. Madam talked about it just before the session. Okay, office girl due to work from home. Numerous retail estates are being available, but we are working from home. There is a concept of moonlighting. I don't want to touch here, but the point is that there is an issue right now, right? Then there is a 5G, which is going to come and disrupt, and is going to make patients very close to the doctors. That's another disruption which is coming up, and which is already there. Transport sector, we already know Uber actually disrupted the entire transport sector from that point of view. And then the solar renewal, thrive for more. The profitability is quite high when you use the solar energies from doing that. And the last not but the least is on the digital fintechs, customers, bringing customers close to the stock market and as well as to the banks. So these are the ones which are technology drivers, which are disruptors, which are creating this business agility. So we'll continue two more factors to the next slide. So why do we need business agility, right? So the continuous improvement by competition. Here is an example, hyper commerce scale by Zipto. Okay, that is already there. So we had online shopping, and after that an app was created, and then Blinkit actually forced, Big Basket to deliver within 10 minutes. So that's the way the things are moving on, from that point of view. And then there is another part which is called business model change. Okay. So Kindle, who was to actually recently introduce a subscription-based book subscription instead of publishing. So see the paradigm shift, the way the business is changing with the environment which is there. So there are four factors which actually contributed and which are the main reasons for business agility to come into picture. To the next slide. Now what is AI? We talked about AI in the previous session. So I want to make it a little more simplified format, that why AI is needed for business agility. Very simple to understand. Any problem with a prediction component is all about AI. So AI is all about prediction. Correct? Second point, for better predictions, you need to have better, data sets or a data views, and then you create algorithms to give better predictable analysis from that point of view. So what is AI? Basically data plus algorithms. That's a simple definition of AI. Okay, and then good prediction helps you to create better business value to the customers or for insight. Then you have AI, which helps business segmentation, which helps in market propensity, and customer detailing. And finally, AI helps to understand our customers better, because you take the feedbacks, you take the learning, and then you work on it. Go to the next slide. So how does AI help? So I'm going to talk about different sectors. One is banking, we're going to talk about manufacturing, and we're going to talk about healthcare, because it covers all spectrum of life, and we're just going to talk about few critical ones, because there are numerous use case examples of AI, and today we're going to live on that. So I'm going to only touch about bank. So bank thrives on loans, giving loans, not on your deposits. Right? Why do you may feel that you're depositing, that's not an asset for them, it's a liability for them from that point of view. So they thrive on loans. So for giving loans to people, it's very important that you actually figure out where to give loan and whom to give loan. So what are the disruptions for the business of a bank can be disrupted by? One is the macroeconomic factors, which is when spending becomes less. In COVID, the spending became less. Right? So obviously there was a huge pressure. The government, came into the picture, helped a lot of, relief measures to be done. And then wrong loan distribution. We know all examples of wrong loan distribution, so I don't want to talk about it here. Okay? So what does AI gives? It gives a very successful predictability. You can actually build a lot of, risk factors to that and give a proper loan disbursement from that point of view. Second, Risk factors, input as a parameter can help accurate prediction. That is very important. Second is prediction can also prepare for backups. It's very important that the prediction helps in backups, and AI is a very useful, tool and a technology for that. Second is AI can predict impact of macroeconomic state, which is weather, because this conditions also play a very important role from a business agility point of view. So this is all about banking in a nutshell, but there are numerous cases in financial areas where we saw in the last time when Madam was presenting for NPCI, but there are numerous cases. I just wanted to touch the basic ones, which are the key point for the industry. So we go to the manufacturing. Go to the next slide. So how does AI help in manufacturing? Manufacturing requires most optimized and non-disruptive supply chain. Okay, so it's very important that the supply chain can be disruptive. You have seen US, Ukraine, Russia war, which has actually been a very disruptive. Geopolitical alignments is a very disruptive way where this disruption of supply chain can happen, and it has happened, and it is affecting most of us. Weather conditions and pandemics. These are 4 factors which are the disruptive causes for supply chain. AI helps to predict them. So that's one of the very, very important point, how AI helps to predict them. Supply chain agility has the following factors. You have inbound logistics, outbound logistics, as well as logistics routing. All the above factors requires backup and resilience. So if you see Industry 4.0, I'm sure a lot of you must have read it, and you will read it, is led to supply chain 4.0. So you will see how new ways of design thinking has been made to ensure that business agility in supply chain management is non-disruptive. So a lot of manufacturing industries actually are benefited out of it. ABB has gone a long way of doing it, and you will see a lot of case studies around that. So these are some of the things which AI actually has a huge impact for that industry in manufacturing. Let's go to the next slide. How AI helps in healthcare. Okay, so medical field advances are very agile. Okay, as the knowledge on medical field doubles every year, and it's leading to agility. How to manage that knowledge transfer is concerned. There are innovations, discoveries which happen, which makes medical representatives outdated. So you need to have tools. How do you manage those knowledge transfers to happen? And that is how it's very important that AI helps in managing those information, which helps to guide the manager's knowledge is all about. It also helps to personalize delivery of care, improve access by providing accurate decision-making tools. So these are some things which a health industry uses. While there are numerous cases in health industry from AI point of view, I just wanted to bring you only few things which are impacting humans directly from that point of view, and what is the cracks of the AI at the health industry is concerned. Okay. Now AI creates business agility. We saw, three sectors. One is financial sector. We saw in manufacturing. We saw in healthcare. And we said, why do we need business agility? Now, what we are trying to say here is that AI creates business agility, and today AI business helps to give competitive advantage. So all businesses actually are embracing AI because you don't have a choice. Right? If you do not do it, you will be out of business. So if you see in the financial world, AI is the topmost technology which is trending worldwide. Right? So if you are in the technology space, because the disruption happens for technology, AI helps in disruptive growth from a technology point is concerned. So taking AI today, if you see from an India standpoint, I think we are much, much advanced in the way we have adopted technology from an AI standpoint. The kind of innovations and use cases we have put into the picture, the world is imitating us, to be honest with you. There are a lot of use cases in India where we have gone 2 steps ahead in terms of implementation of this AI technology for our business growth from point of view, and also helped the humans error-free operations is concerned from that operational point of view. So if you see, Google acquired DeepMind AI company in 2016. So obviously it has helped them to use DeepMind AI technology to save 40% of their data center operational cost. This is a very big case study from a Google standpoint. They had done it in 2016 and created a competitive advantage. Obviously, this is a very high competitive advantage for having that acquisition done. Swiggy, all know about it. They're actually testing a middleware delivery improvement using drones. So we all know people, supply the Swiggy stuff. There is a drone capability being tested in the background from a Swiggy point of view. So this is another thing which very soon, when it's tested fine, you will see, this innovation coming into the picture. See the way the disruption is happening in our way of doing things. Farmers using pesticides, that was the normal way of doing it. So using AI, you can be more predictable and the agility in the agricultural field. So while systems which worked, normal way, we are trying to disrupt and see how this disruption can be, enhanced by speed and agility to bring those business values to the people. And last not but the least, one of the most important feature of Amazon is the fantastic recommendation system. We all use it. You all seen it that Amazon gives a lot of recommendations when you go to that site. This is all driven by AI. So the point is, AI creates business agility is a known fact, and it's better that we upgrade our skills. We upgrade ourselves to understand what are the use cases to be done so that it is used for impactful, positive business growth. Okay, we go to the next slide. So AI and business agility is going to stay. Okay, so the point is that frequency of changes in business has become a norm. We never heard this before COVID, right? So in COVID, everything had to change, right? You had to think out of the box and you had to survive. Forget, technology advancements. So the business is changing very rapidly and you have to keep in space with the business for you to be, relevant. That's more important. We as students or we as business guys also are learning and unlearning. The most important factor is that while you have technology, but the human capital, which I talk about most of the time, is that it's very important asset because it's human who drives this technology, not the other way around. It's the human who is behind this technology and not technology in front of the human from that point of view. You must understand the correlation between the two. And this is very important because unless and until we learn and unlearn and see what are the evolving needs of organization is required or a customer is required or an environment is required, it's very important that we adapt to those changes very fast and learn and unlearn. And obviously technology is going to help you. So AI is an excellent technology to handle disruptive growth. So if you want any disruption or a disruptive growth is concerned, this is, I told you in financial sector, this is the leading technology graph which actually derives the disruptive growth is concerned. Obviously the business models which are hard to change, you need to have a prescriptive, which I have mentioned here, as well as a predictive analytics. This is very important that, there are certain business models which cannot change the way we predict them to change. And yet, you have predictive and prescriptive analytics, which is also part of the digital transformation is concerned. Go to the next. Yeah, so I think most of us know the use case of, AI, the chatbots. We book our PVR cinema tickets. You do so many things where humans are being replaced on the chatbots. That this is a common example. I thought, let me just put it because everybody knows about it. And if you see all the call centers, the contact centers, for banks or for any other system. So those questions which are rudimentary in nature, which are common questions to be answered, you don't require humans to answer it, right? The advantages are multiple. So you have seen whenever you go to an app site or any site, there is chatbot which is communicating to you all the time. It's learning from the questions what is being put up to you and is also giving much more comfort to a consumer. See, all of us are much more comfortable from a chatbot perspective because the questions which we ask, they learn from the questions and they try to answer it. And normally if you see in a contact center, more than 70 to 80% questions are common. And hence, it's easy to have chatbots rather than humans. That's it from my side. Any questions here?
Yeah, good morning everyone. My name is Anurag Verma and I am working with Geo, part of the enterprise business team. So while you talked about several good use cases, and we all are aware, everyone is excited about it. But then the leaders and the even the proponents and the stalwarts of AI, they have been talking about that AI can be very disruptive, and it can be even more disruptive than a nuclear, bigger threat than even a nuclear threat to the humanity. So is it, and it requires some kind of regulation and global cooperation. Is it really a hype or a reality, and what is your view on that?
See, this is disruptive for sure, okay? Because it replaces, she talked about petabytes, petabytes and so on and so forth, because it's not possible for a human to analyze so fast and do the things from that point of view. So obviously the regulator is also looking at it very seriously to evolve those, regulations around it. It's important that, every aspect of things which comes for a change or disruption has its positive and negatives. It is the way the human interprets and wants to interpret and get away with it. So I'm sure there are regulatory bodies which are working across the globe to put the framework of regulations, what maybe tomorrow what should be done and what cannot be done, but you cannot stop at this time the way things are going on. So obviously it has its plus and negative, but every aspect of life has positive and negative. So we should look at positive way of seeing growth from that point of view. But while there will be people who would look at the negative part to use this technology to do it.
Okay.
Any other question?
Hello, I'm Mandato sir. I'm a growth consultant. I want to know, are these regulators using agile mindset to improve something? If they are want to be everything on a sure shot plate ready and then only deliver, then probably they are not utilizing agile.
Okay, it's an interesting question. I'll be very politically correct here. Okay. So the question is that as far as India is concerned, I think we are much more matured in terms of the way we form our regulations. I must tell you this. There are various examples to cite. You have seen in US how things are bad in terms of banking system is concerned, whereas RBI here today has done a phenomenal job compared to any other regulator, right? So obviously the speed of change is very fast. So people are also seeing how things can improve, what are the pros and cons of it. And obviously, the regulator is not putting a stop to innovation. Okay, you must know this. They're also viewing it very seriously. They're encouraging innovations to happen. They're encouraging disruptive technologies to happen. But obviously, they are also learning, because this is a learning phase for everybody from that point of view, to see how the regulations can be put across the root issues, from root point of views, right? So if you see, example, just to give you an example, buy now, pay later, we all know about it, right? Right? There's a big market, right? Banks don't give those credits, right? Those are NBFCs who give the credit, and we have crystal people sitting here who gives the credit scoring, right? From that point of view. So you have 5 agencies which give the credit score, and based on that you get your credit rating, right? And based on that the credit guys gives credit to you. So the regulator has put a norm there today. If you use a new RBI form, I'm just giving you an example which is real time, has put a norm to the NBFCs and all who give credits. And obviously these credits are given to salaried employees, which is for a purchase of 1 lakh and so on and so forth. So the regulator is playing its role, evolving its way of doing it. Across the globe, people are also seeing how this kind of disruption regulator has to come into the picture. In UK, right, the banks are obviously not for this kind of a thing, while the pressure is on to give buy now, pay later kind of a thing, because this is going to be disruptive for going forward. Because around 2026, Indian market is going to be around 50 billion US dollars on only buy now, pay later. Okay, that's the size of the market. So you can understand the way a disruption will happen. So the regulator is watching very closely to put regulations so that the frameworks are tightened and the money which is being given to a person to use the money is also regulated. And obviously when you default, you don't get a next scoring or a next grade for that. So there is a limit being set at 1 lakh. So I'm sure there are more regulatory norms which are going to come up, because for a size of this kind of business in India, which is going to be 50 billion US dollars, is going to be huge. So regulator has to play a role, and it is playing a role. So I must tell you that all over the world, regulators are watching it very clearly, and they are evolving new ways of doing. As an example, I just told you, buy now, pay later, RBI has introduced a new regulation. Yeah.
Sure. So, sir, you are at a position, you make lots of decisions, right? So, But question is that you know the roadmap, you know that where we are heading, you know the where's the future. We talked about the numbers as well. So what is your key message as a business leader of this bank that as an agilist, what we should be doing? What kind of things we be preparing for to handle this kind of disruption? Because end of the day, we are the people who are executing it. So, so how we should? What is future for us? I mean, what it is that we should be doing?
Yeah. So as long as it helps to better customer experience, okay, that's very important. See, all these are for customer experience, but customer experience cannot be at the cost of, where you can see a fraud happening, okay, at the cost of, regulatory norms not being followed. So that cannot be compromised. So compliance from that point of view overrides any technology or any business decisions. Okay, so as we have been talking about it, the regulation is also evolving and doing it. So it has to be followed in totality. You cannot bypass. That is one. Obviously, technologies are here to show you roadmaps where things can be disruptive in terms of positive way, right, of growth. So we as business leaders, we see that whatever we used to take 4 days, can it be in a minute in an operation, right? Can the operation be error free? Just from operation point of view, I'll come to the strategic point of view. Okay, from operation point of view, we see that how an error-free operation can happen. In humans, you have editing issues, right? For P, you just type S. The name was S Surajit. You wrote instead of S, you typed P. You will forget it after some time, right? And then the error keeps on continuing, right? You go to your PF office, your letter is changed, you won't get your PF money, right? You find it difficulty to get your money, right? So those are difficult the way we were doing the activity. So this machine learning and AI actually eliminates those errors because they pick up the right readings from there and actually edit it properly, and they give you a good analytical tool for that doing it. So operation wise, it's very helpful from that point of view, right? It reduces from 4 days to minutes and so forth. For corporate, banking is concerned, it reduces so much of corporate document for which you have to go for 45 days. It requires a lending to be done because there are so many documents you have to read. It actually brings the time less than half from that point of view. So from an operation point of view is fine. But from a strategic point of view, you need to see which businesses are helping from a customer point of view and your growth point of view, right? And if you are able to determine that, obviously, you have to consult the regulator also because you just can't start anything on your own what you think is good to happen. We have seen various cases here in banks also where people started digital and there were problems. Like we had problems in net banking, we had problems in mobile banking, and there were headlines around it, right? So obviously the regulator also put that, go slow and just see it how, these disruptions don't happen, right? So you have seen that RTGS and NFT and all is 24/7 now, which was never a case before, right? We had certain hours where you can operate. So the regulator is also regulating it properly in terms of seeing all the pros and cons are met, and we don't get into an issue which is, disputable one. So I think there is a balance. As a business leader, you have to figure out that what is good for your business profitable growth. So we identify certain growth areas from a business point of view, and we work towards it. For working towards it, again I said, it is all humans. It is not machine who is driving AI. So it is human who is creating AI, right? So it's important that as humans and as college students here, I would request you, all of you, to learn and unlearn more, because the technology is changing very rapidly. And you have to see how you can contribute your learnings to the technology and help this kind of, businesses to help them, create those models of innovation and help the business to grow faster. To answer your query, we define what is growth and which area growth can come in a constructive way. And it is alwaysly discussed with your board, because board is also part of your business, and obviously with the regulator, and it's a combination decision that you move on. That's the way. Yeah.
This is from Borderline. So my question is that when I see from the top, I see the business agility and the AI on the different side of the same coin. But now, right now we try to mess with the business agility and the AI. So in the long run, for the small organization or the mid-cap organizations, will it cut the resource or will create the jobs?
It's going to both ways, okay? It's simple. If you don't upgrade yourself, you'll cut your job. Simple. But if you upgrade yourself, you'll create more jobs because you're going to create more use cases, right? So everything has this, every coin has a plus and negative point. My question is that's why I'm saying, that we have to look at the positive aspect of life, right? So be positive, create more use cases, create more learning and unlearning for yourself, and understand. And I'm sure, while in an operation, it can be error-free and reduce human interventions to that example. But at the same time, same human can be deployed and upgraded to a different things. Right? So this is a big challenge for CEOs and board members, for us, where there is certain set of people doing certain amount of work, right? And immediately this technology is there, right? How do you scale your guys, It's very difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy because you don't get those resources outside also. So you have to plan your system in such a way that you must have an innovation. Even though it's a small team, you must have an innovation. Without innovation, growth cannot happen. Traditionally, आप trading करोगे ये करोगे नहीं होने वाला है, right? It's going to be innovation-driven growth. That innovation, you have to spend money, you have to spend your time with the people. So it's not about that you need to have a data scientist. No. It depends on small scale industries, how you can define your business agility from that point of view and how a technology. It is only technology which can define business agility, nowhere else. So you have to have set of people who has that mindset of innovation, who has the mindset of technical. Now when I say innovation, you must know another thing. It's not about technical, it's important to have domain knowledge of that business. Okay, let me just tell you very frankly. If you don't have domain knowledge, you will be half cooked, right? So you may produce a product, but it may not be useful. So you have to have a combination of your business and your technology married together, right? It's two in a box. So if you have domain and technology proper, your innovation is faster and you're able to scale faster. So define what you want in your business to be done, which is creating a problem or a hurdle for you. For example, your back-end office's job, right? For small things. You can have a technology, deployed there. You have your domain expertise of your business and you have a technical team. You don't require data scientists to do this job from a business point of view. So just have your domain who will give the domain knowledge of your business and have the technical guys to say how I can reduce this time frame of operations which is normal. So that is how you define. What happens to the people who are doing it? Upgrade them. Otherwise they will be obsolete. As simple as that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One last question.
Hi, my name is Prashant Koparkar. I'm a trainer and consultant in machine learning. I have a couple of questions, sir. One is in the area of agility. So you rightly mentioned that Indian banking system has gone way ahead than US, and the way things were done in banking business are so different now. So how do you handle the internal resistance, especially from government, semi-government kind of bank? Because traditionally banking jobs were like same thing done repeated again and again, and now things are so dynamically changing. So how do you take care of that agility in terms of the human resistance to that? And second is in the area of AI machine learning. So you talked about loan disbursement, etc. Now I would like to know to what extent, not only this or in general, the decisions are made by automated systems which are like traditionally, okay, if credit score is above this and then grant the loan, as against completely relying on a model which has learnt on past data and let it make the decision instead of the traditional automation, which is somebody expert has defined a rule for the machine, as against machine learning from data and making the decision.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very, very practical question, and we face it every time. Okay, let me just tell you this. There will be always resistance to change. Okay, humans are meant like that. Anytime you make a change, there will always be resistance because your comfort zone is very high, right? That's the one thing. So if you see the banks today, just see the customer onboarding. We used to go to the banks, give several documents before in the branch offices, and then your account used to get opened after 10 days or something. And today you see in a minute. They have a kit available, you do video KYC. That's a transformation. Customer onboarding has already taken place. In that customer onboarding, you can open an account in 3 minutes online. Okay? 5th minute, you can do the transaction. Okay, there are things which can happen. But there are problems on the regulator. People do, money laundering. Okay, let me come to the point. There are money laundering which happens and there is a regulation towards it. So AI actually helps in detecting those suspicious transactions. So we have a regulator FIU, okay, who takes care of that, and there are banks, because of digital, we became India, world #1 digital transaction. We overtook China and US. We do almost 25.6 billion transactions. That's the kind of volume we have got into. So when you have this positive way of opening account in 5 minutes, doing a transaction in 6 minutes, obviously there will be money laundering. People will use, some people talked about it, how you can stop them. Yes, you can stop them. You can actually keep an account, but you can freeze that account and then do the proper video KYC, and he can deposit, he cannot transact. So those things has to be discussed within your system of your bank, and you can prevent it, right? So what does it help? It helps you create more CASA, current account, saving account. So your deposits can increase. So people talk about in 5 minutes your account is opened and you can do the transaction. But at the same time, you can use this method that you can freeze it till the time proper detailing is done. That proper detailing will not take more than 3 to 4 hours. But it's not necessary that after 5th minute, 6th minute you do the transaction. He can wait for 3 hours instead of waiting for 30 days he used to do. But that's important to do it, right? It saves your bank. It saves the guy who is doing a transaction from that point of view. That's very important from that. I forgot the next question what you asked.
The second one was to what extent we rely on machine learning models to make it
Yeah.
the traditional automation.
Yeah. So I again told you, it's humans who create machine learning. It is humans. We forget that element. Just to give you an example without any prejudice to any, we do credit scoring, right? Just figure out you are a debt-free guy and you do credit scoring. You know what's the score for that guy? Is 701. Correct? I spoke in Indian Chamber of Commerce 2 weeks back. Okay? So I was telling them that a guy who is debt-free, don't you think his credit scoring has to be high? The answer is also there, saying that you have not updated your system, same machine learning. So why the credit scoring came as 701? The machine saw it, what the input you had, because you never had a past data. So it gave a score of 701, whereas you are supposed to get almost 100% score. And that's a reliability we should have. That's a drawback which, we are requesting. The regulator also will look into it. Because if you have guys, and there is a way to capture it, technology captures the other sentiments of this which is not there in the data, where you cannot capture, the data is not updated, hence the score is 701. So there is a way of capturing his data who is debt-free, and capture that data and give him a higher score, because the guy of that nature, of his worth, what is there. So how do you do a credit scoring? Basically you do a PAN card and your mobile number, right? And then you get a credit score in 15 seconds or 90 seconds kind of a thing. So the regulator is very clear and happy about it, right? But also, they are also observing it, if you are to give a credit based on your credit scoring has to be perfect, correct? If your credit scoring is not perfect, you will give loans, the loans will have a problem, right? And I'm sure they're going to look at it, because the guy who's debt-free and has a 701, whereas the guy who is not debt-free, obviously his score is higher, right? Because his credit details are there as in AI. But the AI is not captured that, because you have never updated your story. So those things, as a real-time example, is going to improve. I'm sure the regulator will look into it, because those are the more reliable guys where he can pay money faster than a guy who is having a credit, has defaulted but his score is high. Just a real-time example, because I just spoke because I was there in Indian Chamber of Commerce. I took this point up, and I think this will come up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a spellbinding session from all aspects. Sir spoke about business domain and technology. We are the methodology guys, so let us make our presence. We also want to talk of methodology. We have to deliver when the market requires it.
Yeah.
So other question is, what I learned is we have to be relevant, learn and unlearn, and see what my ecosystem wants from me. Am I a COBOL developer or am I a Python developer? That doesn't matter. Am I delivering what the customer wants? So thank you very much, sir. Very nice conversation. Look forward to you once again.
Thank you.
And now invite Power sir to.
I want is helping us for upgrading to fill up the academic gap. Sir has introduced banking and banking technology course in our college. Thank you very much, sir, for supporting us.